All right, people, welcome to Project 3550. So what is 3550? If I do get on stage in July of 2021, basically that'll mark 35 years, actually 35 and a half years of training, and 50 will be the age I'll be competing at. So I think that's pretty cool milestones, you know, to have trained 35 years on a high level. And I think that's what's at this point what I'm most proud about, is the fact that I've had such a long training career on a pretty high level. I can tell that I'm slowing down maybe just a little bit. And when I say slow down, I don't mean my ability to, let's say, lift heavy, you know, while I'm doing it. It's more so just the recovery aspects of the training. Like, I can tell that, you know, it's taken me a little bit longer to basically recover from some demanding training sessions. So again, pretty proud of the fact that I've been going at it for so long and still enjoying it. You know, if I wasn't enjoying it, then more or less, you know, I wouldn't still be doing it. And I kind of knew more or less that, you know, I needed to, you know, change a little bit of my approach to training. And Eric Helms basically said, hey, you know, tell me what exercises you can and can't do, and let me game plan something for you. So basically, I gave him the keys to the car, and he created my current training program, which thus far has been working really well. So in a nutshell, you know, basically kind of eliminated so much of the heavier training, kind of increased some rep ranges, included, you know, some trisets, supersets, things like that. Just in a sense, kind of working me in a little bit higher rep ranges, you know, not loading as heavily. So again, easier on the joints. And also a different training stimulus, you know, where traditionally it's more like I'm just training with straight sets, you know, resting as much time as I need between sets to bring the fatigue level down so I can basically perform at my best with each set. So in a sense, I'm not losing any type of reps or my ability to use the loads. So just keeping a high performance throughout all my training sets. So now it's like with the supersets, trisets, you know, of course the load's going to come way down. And you know, cardiovascularly, I'm going to feel that a lot more. So in a sense, you could say that my endurance is actually picking up. That's something that I am noticing, is that my endurance is actually picking up. And in a sense, the straight sets are feeling a little bit easier. I'm kind of noticing that I'm recovering a little bit more effectively in between sets. So it's been kind of a nice change of pace. I think it's helping to alleviate a lot of the burden that my connective tissue was taking. And I think that's something that a lot of us probably don't really think about too often, or probably not enough of, is, you know, right now in the environment is we need to do more, we need to do more volume, push ourselves more, overreach a little bit, that we don't think about, you know, how that kind of impacts not just recovery ability, as far as like, okay, do I feel like I got hit by a truck the next day? Do I feel just extremely fatigued and tired? But the actual wear and tear on the connective tissue. So even though, let's say, you may need a lot of volume to see hypertrophy, the question is it kind of putting your connective tissue, I wouldn't say at more risk, but is there a little more risk there than maybe what we're realizing? And you know, we have to think about, okay, how is this going to impact me, you know, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you know, in order to kind of see, you know, the longevity that maybe we want to see. So I think, yeah, I think just in a sense, you know, I'm still learning how to train at a little bit of an older age, and I still think there's still room to keep, you know, slightly improving, but I want to definitely kind of maximize the time I have left and enjoy basically the fruits of my labor. So I don't want Project 3550 to be my last project. Yeah, maybe there's a Project 3651, 3752, 3853, and so on. So basically, you know, in a nutshell, that's what I'm kind of thinking about, is I need to make sure that my training is still productive, but yet still, pretty safe, and most importantly, enjoyable. For 2019, I finished off at WMBF Worlds, got 6th in the middleweight class, and super proud of that. As a 48-year-old taking 6th, at Worlds. That's pretty cool. I was pretty proud of that. So coming off of that, my game plan was, hey, let's not get too heavy in the off season. I think that's a lot of our goal. When we get done with the prep, you don't want to see, our physique go way the other way. But I think just, what ended up happening was I started to enjoy the more quote-unquote normal life a little too much. So I got a little bit loose, got relaxed. Of course, I was enjoying some Oreo cookies with my son, enjoying, the weekends with my wife, a glass of wine, some crackers and snacks and things like that. And, that weight basically kind of just piled on. So I was still doing the same, meal patterning as the last prep, my 4 meals per day, but it was just like that in-between snacking that I was doing that kind of got carried away. So my calories definitely got pretty escalated. So I ended up gaining 35 pounds. So I was got up from 170 to 205. And so in a sense, definitely eating probably well over 3,000 calories. So, and I wasn't tracking. So that's more or less like an estimate. But even though, I didn't keep myself at a, let's say, more of an ideal body weight, I don't regret it. Because to be honest with you, I thoroughly enjoyed, the off season. I was able to enjoy like the normal life. I was enjoying, like I said, the weekends, enjoying, some social times with my kids and all that, having snacks and enjoying some cookies. So I don't regret it. I just know that, okay, if I gain 35 pounds, that it's just going to take me that much longer to get the weight off. And I'm okay with that because personally, I have experience with contest preps. This is not my first rodeo. So I know more or less how my body works, how it ticks, how it operates as far as, getting that body weight or the body fat off of me. So, I'm not saying that, hey, that's an excuse to have let my body weight go a little too high. But again, I think the trade-off for me was kind of worth it. Again, I had a lot of fun over the last 6-7 months of that off season. So I've given myself a full year, and I know a lot of people look at, wow, that's a long time to basically be dieting for a year. But if you guys have followed me in the past, then it's more like a lifestyle for me than it is hey, this is a hardcore diet that goes on for a full year. Like basically, in a sense, it's paced out pretty well, where there's diet breaks along the way. The deeper we get into it, and the leaner I'm getting, of course, if calories have to come down, then in a sense, fatigue levels will probably start to escalate a little bit. So in order to stay on top of that recovery, 2 refeeds a week and maybe even 3 refeeds a week might be needed to ensure that I'm keeping a good handle on the supply and demand. Now, keep in mind, when you think about contest prep and dieting down, you think about, okay, from a supply and demand perspective, the demand is the training demand, it's your activity demand, meaning let's say if you're doing what your step count is, if you're doing cardio, things like that, like that's a demand. Life itself is a demand, like work stress, life stress, whatever you're dealing with outside of the gym. So all that stuff is a demand. The deficit is a demand. The supply, food level, sleep, and your rest days. So if your demand is like really getting up there, and again, deeper in prep, that demand just kind of naturally escalates the leaner you're getting. And if you're not given enough supply, like if you're constantly just like way up here with that demand, stress levels are going to become pretty elevated. And those refeeds, those diet breaks kind of help to keep things balanced out. So that way you can maintain good performance, good recovery, and not to mention too, just like quality of life, like starting macros and all that. 40 to 60 grams of fat, that's kind of my range. Carbs 300 to 350, and the protein is at 160. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that protein being at 160. why is it so low, Jeff? Why are you only taking in less than a gram per pound of body weight? So basically, yeah, I'm like, 199 right now, somewhere in there. So it's under a gram per pound, but my lean body mass is roughly 158 to 160 pounds. So technically I'm taking in a gram per pound of lean mass. And what's probably more important, or just as important, or part of the picture when we think about kind of where the protein is set, especially if we're dieting down, like it's where you're basically, like, where the rate of loss is. So let's say, for example, I'm losing more than 1% of my body weight per week for successive weeks. Like every week that just goes by, I'm losing more than 1%. Like regardless of where my protein is set, that's still going to be an invasive rate of loss. And probably inevitably, because there's not enough food coming in to support everything, body's going to be like, okay, there's not enough food coming in, so where am I going to get this energy? Yeah, you're going to lose some body fat, but chances are you're probably going to lose some muscle mass with it, regardless of where that protein is at. So what I pay attention to more so is that I want to make sure that, I'm not losing any more than 1% of my body weight per week, especially for successive weeks. Like early on, might lose a little bit more than that because of water weight, bloat, that type of thing. But that's why I like to run longer preps, so where they're more conservative, where I'm losing, basically for me, it's like half a pound to a pound per week. Like early on, I'm striving for 1 pound per week because, again, I got a lot of energy on my body. But the deeper I get into it, the leaner I get. Again, in theory, the fatigue levels start to escalate. And so I want to slow the rate of loss down a little bit. So that way I'm not taxing myself and my body's not like going, hey, where the hell, there's no energy here. I need energy. Body fat, yes. Okay. Muscle too. So I want to preserve that. So I actually want to slow that pace down. The leaner I get. So that way I can ensure there's enough food coming in, training is going really well, you're performing well, you're able to keep your volume up, those types of things, because that's what's going to retain that muscle mass. So again, the protein, I'm not like, stressed out about 160 grams, like a gram per pound of lean body mass, because also I know through trial and error, through my own trial and error, where I've ran multiple preps with that amount of protein, I've attained my best ever physiques. So I'm confident that that's enough protein because, again, it was more about controlling my rate of loss, ensuring that performance is where it needed to be, ensuring where recovery needed to be, and not letting my body get so stressed and so deprived that it's like, hey, I don't care if you're eating 250 grams of protein or 160, I'm going to eat your muscle because I need energy to survive. So again, that's basically more or less why I don't venture or worry about, I should say, 160 grams of protein. Another reason why I don't go higher protein is because from an adherence standpoint, I don't enjoy protein as much as I do, let's say, carbohydrate. I prefer to eat carbohydrate. I personally perform better when there's enough carbohydrate coming in, so enough energy to train with. And just visually too, I look fuller, like when I have more carbs in. So, that's a big part of this, right? So we want to look good. I don't want to look like 90% of the time, 80% of the time, I look super flat. I might be losing body fat and I might be flat. I know flatness is part of the process, but if I'm chronically flat, it's not going to do much for my psyche, my overall mood, my confidence level. So, I want to look good more times than not, so that's, another reason why, or part of the reason why I don't like to venture, too high on protein and low on carbs, let's say. I want to make sure that I'm enjoying my foods that I'm eating, especially if it's a year-long endeavor. I want to enjoy the foods I'm eating. I want to look, fairly good throughout the process. Of course, early on, I'm soft, but eventually I'll start looking better and better and better. And when you're looking better and you're confident, it makes you want to continue to do it, continue to push yourself. So I think that's important from a mental standpoint. So that's basically kind of the starting macros. I won't adjust these things until, progress is kind of dead in the water here in the first couple of weeks. My adherence is, let's say, 85, 90% right now. So I know there's still room to improve the adherence, improve my daily flow. When I mean daily flow, like making sure that my meal timing and my pattern and how I do things throughout the day looks more routine. Like it's like, okay, I'm brushing my teeth. There's no stress there. I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm just flowing really well, and adherence is really well. Once that's closer to 100 and then I'm not progressing, then I would basically say, okay, I need to make an adjustment. But if things are inconsistent or not all the way dialed in, then yeah, we don't want to touch protocols just yet. Questions, feel free to, basically shoot them over. I'll do my best to answer them, and have patience with that. And keep in mind that I'm a husband, I'm a dad, coach, and these videos here, I do them to help people, and I do them to keep myself accountable, and I enjoy doing them. They're therapeutic, and they're not for, profit, meaning, I don't have I'm not going to go buy fancy cameras and fancy editing things and hire people to do these things. It's just me. Hey, I got some free time to get in front of my phone, talk, throw it with some training clips, and fire it off into the world, and hopefully it helps somebody. So, yeah, don't expect too much out of the quality of the videos, but the content, I hope, is super high quality, and you guys can get a lot out of it.